Hey, everybody. I am Nick Slavic. I am the host of Ask a Painter Live. I'm also the proprietor of the Nick Slavic Painting and Restoration Company. This is Ask a Painter Live. It is a weekly live show going on for longer than 10 years that explores the life of a master craftsperson and a paint business owner. Before we jump into all the fun topics today, we have three things I want to talk about. I want to talk about like crafting these beautiful estimate templates. It sounds kind of dry, but it is the lifeblood of my organization where we can communicate to the clients with a stock series of things to let them know exactly what they are going to get from us. It outlines what we do and we don't do and promises and this. And every single week we hone this and craft it. I'm going to show you about that later. We're going to talk about the post peak of summer sort of like rhythm, which I believe we have passed post peak based on data and feelings. And I'm also going to give you a retreat preview. Before we get into all that, though, folks, you IGers are going to miss this, but on Facebook, I am giving a feast for the eyes. This is my Paint Scout dashboard. You guys know I'm a huge believer in systems, processes. I am the professionalism guy. I have been preaching this for years. I've learned it myself and put it out there. All of this has become a huge part of what I do at my painting company, right? Paint Scout. We've been using it for years now. We have put almost $32 million worth of painting estimates through Paint Scout. We have data. We have data. We have data. We have data. So many thousands of estimates. I believe we're approaching 4,000 estimates through Paint Scout right now. I love all these systems and processes. It helps guys like me run a professional painting business. And when I started with Paint Scout years ago, it was the finest estimating tool out there on the planet. It has since morphed into the all-in-one, the single source of truth for what we do. So instead of, if you're still manually making estimates, if you're still using 5 different platforms, 5 different softwares, all this other stuff from leads to invoicing, estimating, production, communication, scheduling, all this other stuff, Paint Scout has been innovating highly over the last couple of years, and it is filling in all the gaps in my company. We're going on a major renovation project to basically move all of our systems and processes into Paint Scout. So ultimately, what this does is simplify. A single source of truth makes it easier for your people. You're just going to win more work based on this, based on these wonderful presentations, which we're going to talk to later. Also, it's got these great data and analytics, and you guys know that I am a huge fan of all that. So Facebook, you are looking at my dashboard, my $32 million worth of Paint Scout estimates that we have gone across the Paint Scout with, our success ratios, our average job size, and everything else. So if you're still doing all this stuff by manual stuff or it's spread out all over the place, you need to look into Paint Scout, folks. Proof is in the pudding. There are a few people who use it more than I do on this. There's few people who plumb the depths of it. It is how we are basing our business off of. It is for painting contractors. It's built by a painting contractor for painting contractors. That's the reason I use it. We're right in the trenches with these people, and it is an awesome thing. So there's a link on Instagram. There's a link here. Learn more at paintscout.com. You guys know I'm a huge believer in this sort of thing, made by painting contractors for painting contractors, and it works. That's the best part, folks. So, all right. I am removing my dashboard, and I want to talk about a couple things here. Thank you, everybody, for watching on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and all that stuff. Any of you guys have questions, you pop them in to the comments here. We can talk about anything you want. I do have a couple of topics that I want to talk about. The post-peak summer rhythm, and I want to talk about the retreat preview, which is coming up shortly here. So why don't we jump into the retreat? So very special thing. We have between 18 and 20 people, depending on scheduling, who are going to show up next week to a luxury lodge in the Northwoods of Minnesota. We do 2 of these a year. It's called The Retreat with Nick Slavic. And, this is basically, if you think about like a content ladder or ways that you can be involved with the industry and the PCA and me and all these other things, we have Ask a Painter, which is free and plentiful. There's 10 years of it. It's all over the place. You guys know and love it. It's all over there. It's educational. It's professional. I hope it's inspirational. Things like this are to me. But this is out there for free consumption. Then you can go to kind of One Page Weekly, which is a little more introspective thing. You can go to an in-person master's class around the country with me. You can do a whole bunch of that stuff. But the peak, the finality of this, if you really like what you see and you want to be involved, is The Retreat with Nick Slavic, where I get 15 to 20 humans, very carefully curated, recruited, prepared group of humans. We go to a luxury lodge in the Northwoods. We have a private chef. We have a yoga instructor. We got a tattoo artist this time. We have boats. We have jet skis. We have a lake. We have all this crazy compound to be in. And we do a series of amazing things here together. The pinnacle of it being the ask. Everybody gets 1 hour to address the group with a whiteboard, and you can use it. You can use this group like a think tank, whatever you want to do. My specific ask is going to be surrounded by innovation, renovation, and the next lifeblood step of Ask a Painter. It's going to be really good. I'm going to be, excuse me, I'm going to be talking about the inner workings of Ask a Painter with people I trust, and I'm going to be asking them for strategic and vision advice for the next decade of this sort of thing. This is the type of people that I trust with this thing. It's an amazing mix of people between, larger than $20 million painting contractors. We got big commercial people. We have single owner operators. We have people struggling with all sorts of things. Doesn't matter what stage of business is, but the through line through all of it is a similar set of core values and a willingness to help and servant leadership. So we're getting ready for that. We have my final preparations, which is I go down my standard operating procedure. I know, weird, right? Like I have a standard operating procedure for this. Wouldn't surprise you guys at all that I have that. For food, drink, snack, liquor, cigars, I'm getting my final bit of the gift boxes together. I curate this stuff over about 4 months. It's a very customized sort of gift box I give to people with custom logoed wear and things from my business and a handwritten note and little things to help them along the week and notebooks and pens and all this other kind of stuff. And I curate each one of these customized for each person. Those things have all been organized, laid out. I just need to make the final packing of them, put them in the van. We got to get all our fishing stuff ready. I'm bringing my own boat this time, and it's going to be a whole bunch of fun with all these people. But as you guys can expect, look forward to lots of social media posts, lots of videos. Craziness. I think we are lining up a podcast Thursday afternoon where I am getting a tattoo, and I will be the guest in somebody's podcast while I'm getting a tattoo at the retreat. So that's special. That's interesting. And I get to do it with all my friends, the people I know and love. So, okay, that is the retreat thing. In my LinkedIn, in my link tree in Instagram, there's an application for it. Facebook, you guys can DM me if you ever want to go. This summer one is locked in. I already have about a third of this next winter one filled up with people, but I will be opening for applications in the fall. And you guys can join me on that. If you got any questions about any of that, you let me know. Otherwise, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, thanks everybody for watching. I want to talk about two more things here. I want to talk about the post-peak of summer rhythm, what happens, because it may be early August, it may be mid-August, but it's a changing season for us here in Minnesota, in the upper Northwest, and many other places. And I also want to talk about some stock things on my estimate templates that are really, really helping us lately. This is not a thing we started 3 years ago and just use. This is a thing we change weekly and monthly. So, all right. Right now, let's talk about that. Then we'll get into, we'll talk about post-peak summer. Then we'll talk about the estimate templates. So post-peak summer, I kind of assume that somewhere between the last week of June and the first week or two of August, we kind of hit the peak production times. It could be 2 weeks prior, 2 weeks later, but based on historic production, it typically ramps up mid-June. It stays at an elevated plateau of production through August, and then sometime in September, depending on weather and demand and other things, and us just plowing through our queue and helping people, it will ramp down sometime in September, usually end of October. It's completely done with exterior, and we move on. So what we do, we plan for a couple surge periods in the company. This year, there's an 8.5 week period where we were doing 63 estimates a week. If you want to know how we do 63 estimates a week, I've covered this in other shows. These are two estimators, by the way. They're going like crazy, but it is literally just Paint Scout. We have a unit pricing system based on market rates. It's an amazing, amazing thing where we just click a couple buttons, price the entire outside of a house. We present on site within an hour. Phenomenal system. I'll show you a little bit of that stuff later, how we do our estimate templates. But we have a surge period in the spring where we have demand and we sell. And then we have an elevated period of about 3 months where we produce all that work in the summer, and then we ramp down. Right about now, we have gone past the peak. We're still producing at an amazing rate. I think our highest peak of production in the entire year was literally just last week. We averaged between 22 and 26 jobs finished a week, give or take. And that, based on what we sell and demand and all that other stuff. But now, our deck crews are typically made up of students and teachers, so they will start going back to school mid to late August. So we will then lose our deck capacity, give or take. We'll still take on a few here or there, but the main part of the production is done. It starts getting into the fall a little bit. The days are a little shorter. People don't work as long. A lot of our trade partners will work all weekend. They'll work till 7, 8, 9 at night. That will start to slow down a little bit. People get tired, days get shorter, things like that. But the rhythm is a little different now, where when in spring, I surge with my estimators. So when they go out and they're doing tons of estimates, I am Johnny on the spot helping them with a weird pricing thing, something we've not seen before, a pricing strategy, a market rate, something from the data. And I'm just like at command center and I'm just supporting these guys as they do this. Then I kind of shift my focus to the project managers when it's literally just execution mode. We scrub every single thing from the schedule if we can, and all we're doing is focused on how many clients can we help in this period, because we have literally about 75 days a year. If you minus out holidays, weekends, evenings, rain, dew, temperature, all this other stuff, vacation days, to actually get this stuff done. So in the middle of summer, I focus highly on project management and just day-to-day stuff, application methods, processes, project plans, things like that, and whatever I can do to help out with that. Now we start getting into like finishing up our exterior queue. We got about, I don't know, 2 months at the most, maybe. If we're lucky, we can go into late October, this and that. But we're kind of in that phase where 30 days of still hard production, then we start ramping down. And so now I kind of focus on, really, we take care of like, a lot of the more loose end projects. There's projects that have been pushed off because of carpenters or because of city coding. They need something done to them, things like that. I'll start focus on making sure we can finish these projects, leaning into project management more, and then ensuring there are no loose ends from the main peak of production in the summer. So we actually have a loose ends list on our schedule, and I run through those basically every other day to make sure we have a plan. Hey, there's this project that needs a touch up, or there's this project that, one of the lights on the house doesn't work. When is it scheduled? Who owns it? When are we doing it? I'll check in tomorrow and see if we did it. Things like that. And so I believe that is the job of an ops manager, to make sure those things that can fall through the cracks, connectedness, things like that, being an advocate for the clients, making sure they get good jobs and things like that is there. And then we're basically on the march to look at all the queues. We have about, I would say, probably $900,000 of work that is sold and waiting to be produced right now, interior and exterior. And my goal now is to look at those exterior queues and basically make sure that we can get to every one of those jobs before the end of the year. So timing it out, looking at crew schedules, things like that is a very important thing. And then looking for jobs that are geographically out of there, making sure we out of our region, making sure we have a plan. So it's basically just like, the job right now, the rhythm. Instead of like head down, super execution mode, let's see how many humans we can help. Now you're kind of taking a step back, and it's a little more macro, saying, what do we have left to do this summer? When is historically the end of summer? And kind of putting those pieces into play just to make sure we don't have a huge amount of work that we promise that we can't get to, or that we don't have gaps at the end of summer too. So that's kind of where we're at with that. But typically high execution mode. I'll probably be in that for another couple of weeks, give or take, and then we'll kind of ramp down into making sure it's kind of cleanup mode, end of season mode, tie things up mode, give or take. So that's kind of where my head's at this part of the year here. So, all right, you guys want to get to something good here. Instagram Feast for the Eyes is going to be happening on Facebook. I am sharing my screen as we speak, my actual estimate templates. So this will be awesome for everybody there. I would urge you guys to get over there and have a look at this sort of thing. So I'm going to walk through some of the things that we have done customized on our Paint Scout templates that help us out. So it simplifies our promise to the client, what we promise to the client. It also simplifies the process. If we don't have to remember this stuff, we don't have to have it on recall and then put it on there. They're very important things that helps the client understand what we're promising, what they're purchasing. And also it helps our estimators do more estimates. It literally just like make sure that there's a predetermined, defined scope of work, and they can actually do more. And there's some interesting things that you wouldn't expect on here. So for everybody on Instagram, you're going to have to go to Facebook to watch it, or on YouTube and LinkedIn, but I am going to walk through my estimate template here. So this one in particular, I did a post and a video today about an interior template, and I showed you guys some of the most important things, stock items that we actually crafted, we wordsmith, we treated like poetry and all this other stuff. And we have changed weekly, monthly for the last bunch of years using Paint Scout in order to make this good. Every time we have an issue with the client where I believe we did our job, but we could have done it better, we'll change the wording and we'll get out there and test it again and see if we can find a definable scope, a non-interpretable scope for our client. So let's start at the top of the estimate. There's client information. I'm going past that. There's nothing interesting about that. That's all just stock stuff. One of the things that we do is right here. There's a stock line called priority. And part of the SOP, the standard operating procedure for my business, is that before in the discovery period, we take images, we take notes, we talk to the client before we go out to our vehicle to put this all together and then walk back in during the appointment to present. What we do is we physically ask, what is your priority with this project? And people typically will say, well, we want a good job for a good price. And then we'll say, because that's a very good answer, but it's a stock. It's just a standard stock answer from a client. Of course you would say that, right? But that's what we expect to give them. So then we respond, if scope or if quality of work and the price were all the same, what is your priority outside of that? Then we typically get to something good. So on this particular exterior, we have the priority getting a consistent coatings around the home and on the roof. So on this particular one, really big, beautiful exterior of a home. There's a metal roof, there's a trim, there's wood, there's masonite, there's all sorts of different things on here. And they just want everything like this cohesive, well finished, similar shines and sheens and things like that, because it's kind of all over the place. So what we will do is then pick that out. We'll write that priority down. When we come back in to present the estimate, we will then tell people, hey, listen, you said your priority was consistent coatings around the home and your roof. Here's what we do. And we actually find something within our SOPs that we already do for the client and specifically show them how our SOPs address this sort of thing. So whether it's the metal roof or the siding or this and that, it's our prep procedures, it's our priming procedures, it's our coating procedures. We will actually tell them how they are going to get consistent coatings around their house, give or take. So especially if it's same color but different coatings for different substrates, things like that. Then, so that's a stock item that the clients will customize for each, the estimators will customize for each client. We will then go down to the main the main description of the project. When we do an exterior of a house, we have a unit pricing system. Not going to get into that here. We are just talking about the stock items. Typically what we'll do is we will list body and trim, metal roof. We will have everything. I'm going to bring that up a little bit so you can see that on Facebook. It's cutting that screen off a little bit. So what you're seeing is some purple writing and then some black writing. The black writing is the stock wording that we have. Exterior of home. So already the line item is literally exterior of home. We don't want to assume that people understand that when we say siding and trim, that means the exterior. We need to have it so non-interpretable. Exterior of the home. Now, what are we doing on the exterior? Body and trim, metal roof. That is non-interpretable, right? We're trying to help the clients understand. We don't want to take anything for granted. Then what we do is in purple, we will list our coordinator when a job is sold, will then get a hold of the client and then line up colors for these projects. We will put all the colors in purple so that when we hit work order, up here, there is a button right here. All this stuff will get translated to the actual work order for either a trade partner or a W-2. And I'm showing you guys, I literally hit one button and it made an entire work order here that shows the scope, what we're doing, the colors, the processes, and everything else. So let's go back to the presentation here. All right, so we have that. Now, project scope overview. This is one of the secrets that we do. You call it a secret, but it's obvious, but I don't see a lot of other people doing it. This is called includes, does not include. And we have crafted this because we want to make sure people understand what they get. If you say body and trim, that can be interpretable to lots and lots of things, right? There are a bunch of clad windows. There's clad soffit and fascia here on most new houses. And if you say trim, people are going to be like, great, you're going to paint all my soffit and fascia. You're going to paint all my Anderson or Marvin clad windows because that's trim too, right? Well, technically it is trim, right? But we're not going to be painting that stuff. It's powder coated from the factory. It's clad metal. So what we do is includes and not includes. Includes. This is a stock thing. And for exteriors, we list all this stuff. And then our estimators actually get in there and delete words because it's all inclusive. It says siding, trim, soffit, fascia, wood windows, masonite board, solid color, metal roof shingles, copper roof, garage services, doors, clad windows, gutters. all this stuff. And typically what we'll do, it's an all-inclusive menu, includes and not includes. The wording is the same. And we'll actually delete things out. So there is nothing in the includes thing that is in the does not include. It's got to be one for one. Every piece of the house has to be listed. It's either going to be included or not included. And it's literally one of the most genius things we ever did with our estimates. And it is a stock item. It shows up on every exterior estimate, and the estimators just delete words out of here, delete words out of here, so that 100% of the house is included in includes or does not include. We also have some other notes in there too. What we love too is that we have, there's a stock space for handyman and carpentry referrals in here as well. We have all of our favorite carpenters and handymen in here. And on this particular one, we listed Jaeger, and we listed Prior Lake handyman Jake Wickstrom. But it's got all their contact information. If the client doesn't need any carpentry, we'll delete these from here. But if they do want somebody, it's already in the template. So general idea here is that we will have everything. We'll have a very long inclusive template. Each line item is, we have a carpentry referral, includes does not include. We have some notes, which I'll get to in a second. We have other stock items that if they don't need, we just delete. We have a stock item on decks and porches and stuff like that. If they're not having a deck stain, we delete that portion. So it's not this thing where it's like we have to, I'd rather have my guys go through and delete things than have to remember to add things in there, because that's where we forget things. And then finally, we have the two very important things here. We have general notes right here. So we have about price increase after 6 months, checks and payments, 3% total for credit card payment, coding information down below, material and labor included. We put some basic, basic things from our contract, like the FAQs given basically of this. All estimates and virtual estimates subject to based on full site verification if we didn't, all that good stuff. And then what we have are terms here. And our terms down below, and I'm showing you my entire estimate template and my contract for all you people on Instagram here. The full screen share is on Facebook, because you can't do that on Instagram right now. Terms. This is our contract, but it's a very friendly worded contract, and it deals with bulleted point statements about what we're painting. So our contract is, I think this is something that we've crafted over 12 or 15 years. We categorize our contract or organize our contract by what we're painting. So we have walls and ceilings here. We have cabinets and trim. We have exterior painting and staining. We have decks, porches, pergolas, fences, and then we have general notes. So this is organized in a way where it's literally just bullet points. And within each one of these areas, categories, we have something, probably the most important thing highlighted on here, bolded, just to let people know that this is a very important part of this, give or take. So let's see. Let's go through. Yeah. So walls and ceilings, cabinets and trim, exterior painting and staining, decks, porches, and then general. And then at the bottom, obviously, we have a signature column down below for people. So it's an all-in-one statement of all this stuff. So we have the client's information, we have the project information, we have referrals for them, and we have their contract all here, but it's all very plainly worded. And the good part is, since I kind of have admin duties over all the Paint Scout platform, we have all of this shows up in every exterior template, and the guys basically just carve out what's not useful to the client, which is a great thing. So, all right, folks, I think we have hit it all. I have a post in the Paint Scout group. I also have a post out in general on Facebook and Instagram that goes through my interior template. And this is an exterior template. So I wanted to give you guys each a flavor for this sort of thing. So, all right, folks, as usual, if you got questions or comments, put them in the comments here. I'll get to those here. Like and share this show, put it in your feed, and we'll attract more humans who have shared core values of us. And it's always fun to share this kind of stuff with you guys. Appreciate you following along and watching. And if you guys have any questions about any of this stuff, you know how to get a hold of me. DM through any one of these platforms, and I'm willing to help you on any of this stuff that you need, because people have helped me in the past too. So have a great rest of the day, folks. Take care of your people, and we will talk to you.